We're back again. Some scary stories out there. Oh, it's the Friday Night Forum. Ooh. Hey, you don't look scary. Oh, she is. Ah!
Yeah, that.
You know what? I cannot breathe in this mask.
We got a good effect, though.
Well, that's how we're starting it today.
Yeah.
Or how we're doing it today. It's Friday. We're back.
I didn't plan this out very well. I don't know how I'm going to talk.
Yeah, scary real estate stories. Ooh.
I got them.
Hold on, let me see if I can get April in the picture here now.
Hi, April. Oh, you're so shiny.
Oh, the sunshine, yes. Yes, so, I have the darkness.
Such a flower in this darkness.
Yes.
I can't even talk right. These are glued in. I can't even talk. I keep hitting them. Whose idea was this?
Well, welcome everybody. It's the Friday Night Forum. We are back. So we are talking real estate, answering questions. But we also, excuse me. Wrong one there. We are also going to be going over some scary real estate stories, talking about haunted houses, haunted places in the area. So maybe this interests you. Hopefully you won't be too scared to continue with us.
I want to sleep tonight.
Ooh. So right now, the scariest thing we have is deadlines on offers.
Oh my God, don't even go. Don't stress me out. Literally showed a house. I can't talk with these. Oh my God.
Take them out.
Literally showed a house at 6:30. I didn't think this through.
Oh, they're glued in.
They're glued in. Yeah, and I'm hungry and I want to eat something and I can't. They're all messed up in here. But I showed a house at 6:30. Didn't leave there until 6:45. Got home. I was like, I need to put my costume on. And then the agent was like, you have until 8 o'clock. So I'm like, oh, crap. But of course I had.
Well, that can be a scary situation, for an agent getting offers in on time, especially when there's a deadline and you're working with multiple buyers. I've been in many situations where, an offer's due, 5 o'clock on a Sunday, and I'm showing houses all day Sunday, and the buyer calls at, 4:30. I want to write that offer, and you're in the middle of, doing something else at that moment.
Yeah.
So it definitely can be scary.
So how about this one? I'll add another layer to this. So when I sell a house, I will get the buyer when they're moving in. I'll buy pizzas and beer and alcohol for them while they're moving in, so they don't have to worry about anything. So I did that today for a buyer. Another buyer who I gave that option to calls me up early in the morning. He's like, "Hey, we're moving in tonight, and can you get that pizza and beer to us?" And I'm like, oh my God, I'm so crunched for time right now.
Yeah.
That added another layer of complexity to my day. Not to mention the kids had like school stuff, and I'm like, holy crap, I'm all over the place.
All right. So let's start off with, let's do just a really quick, hold on here. Some scary things in real estate that we've heard about lately. And actually, scary right now is I lost my window. There we go. So a couple of stories have come out not too long ago, actually, about people living in homes. Someone living in your home and you're not actually knowing about it.
Oh, I've heard some of those stories. Oh yeah.
Yes. Yeah. So there was this actually gentleman in Japan. So he was suspecting that somebody was repeatedly robbing him. His food kept going missing, items would disappear, and he couldn't figure out what it was. So he actually set up a interior camera system on his
Yeah.
house, and he found that there was an elderly woman actually living in his pantry or his cupboard, one of his cabinets,
Oh my
and
goodness.
she had been living there for almost a year.
Took that long?
Yes.
Damn. Are people that oblivious?
There was another one where a woman found her ex-boyfriend living in the attic. He had set up a whole bedroom in the crawl space of the attic.
See, that's more like I can see that more than like a random person just showing up. Like your ex knows that house and is like, I know where I can go, and they have no idea.
Yeah. So it's always important to know your property, right?
Yes.
Where are all those crawl spaces? You know, when you're doing your home inspection, you know, where are all your access points? You know, where are your places to store things, and where can you get to stuff if you need to repair it? You know, I remember when we had our two family, when we bought our multifamily, we could not find a hot water tank for the third floor. And the sellers had said, yeah, there is a hot water tank for the third floor. We couldn't find it. And the sellers said, oh, they didn't know where it was. So we just then ended up assuming that there was one tank, you know, for the second and third floor.
Yeah.
After we purchased it, I found a crawl space where there was actually a hot water tank in the attic that we did not actually know about. So, you know, what was important about that is that right around that time, and then right after we purchased the house, the tank actually started to go. So good thing we knew where it was so that we could replace it. Or else it would have turned into a major disaster if that tank had leaked all the way through the house. It actually had started to leak when we found it. So it was like a super lucky situation.
No kidding. I mean, how many houses have we been in where there's just like random doors, cubbies that open up to different areas? I mean, I can totally see that happening. So yeah, people need to explore their houses to make sure that they know where everything, especially the older houses.
Oh yeah.
There's newer ones, there's no cookie cutter that doesn't happen.
Have you ever shown a property and found a like a hidden door or a hidden room?
Oh yeah, I have a video on my Instagram where it goes to a bomb shelter. The guy dug it into the ground and it goes down like 20 feet, and then it's real sketchy. It's if anybody watching goes on my Instagram, it's on there, and it gets real narrow, and then it opens up into this like kitchen, little mini kitchen, and you go around it's like this bunk bed area. And this guy was like just waiting for the end of the world, I guess.
Well, you know, the doomsday preppers, right?
Yeah.
So, you know, that show was out a few years back actually, and for a number of years before 2012, I remember people, you know, the end of the world's coming, so they were always doing that type of prepping. And actually, what was it, Y2K too? Even then, people were talking about prepping for the end of the world.
Oh, I mean, that was big back then.
Their doomsday prep, you know, situation with their bunkers on their house and all that stuff.
Yep.
All right. Let me see here. So, what was the other scary stories? Yes. So we found people can sometimes live in your house even though you don't know about it, which is absolutely crazy. But I wanted to talk about actually haunted houses in Massachusetts. Do you know of any haunted houses in Massachusetts?
So I went on a tour in Salem last week, or not that long. What day is today? I don't even know what day it is. I went on Tuesday to Salem, and it was a ghost tour. So they take you to all the haunted areas, the haunted houses in the area. And it was really cool. There's some sketchy stories that were true. Obviously, it's Salem. Man, I'm having a tough time talking right now. But with Salem is obviously with the witch trials. That was a real thing. There were 20 people in total, I think it was, that died. It was like 15 women, 5 men, I think it was. And So we're going through these houses. There was one house we stopped at where there was a daughter, there was a girl who ended up with smallpox, and the family didn't want to get it. So they put her in the attic and just let her rot there. They didn't give her anything.
Wow.
They didn't feed her nothing. They were just like waiting for her to die. And they said that when she died, a demon came and took over her body. So when people see her, she's like real demonic, but it's not. They were like making a point that it's not the girl that's actually haunting the place. It's a demon in disguise as the girl. But she went through some trauma. That's why it came. And then there was another story where a guy like lost his mind and killed his family. And these are like real stories. So I'm going through there. I'm having a good time, and I'm like, oh, this is kind of morbid. Like going past cemeteries and people dying and stuff, and
then you add on the fact that you're paying a ticket to go on this tour to then learn about everything, and it's supposed to be an entertaining
we go
situation.
to the cemetery. They're like, that's a hanging tree. I'm like, oh, it's a pretty tree. They used to hang people on that. I'm like, oh. Yeah. They're like, take pictures and see if you get orbs. Yep. I'm like, all right.
So what about like Lizzie Borden? You ever heard of Lizzie Borden?
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's it's now actually a bed and breakfast that you can go stay at. So she was famous for murdering her parents.
Allegedly. She was
allegedly. Yeah. She got off on trial, I believe.
Yes.
And then she died like years and years later. But you can actually go check out the house. And stay there. I'm sorry? No, you wouldn't stay there?
No. I would totally do it. No.
I think I would stay a night at a haunted house.
Who would do it? We should get people that are listening now. And we'll go to the bed and breakfast.
Who would do it?
Yeah, let's get some people. I'm down.
I would definitely go. I don't see why not.
I won't do it by myself.
Oh no. No.
But I'll go with a bunch of other people.
I'm not going.
Yep. If I'm going down, other people are coming with me.
One of us
I know.
Kids.
Let me go ahead and I'm going to share this page actually, since I've got this open anyways. Oh, is it all like there we go. It was glitching for a second there. So yeah, you got the Lizzie Borden house.
Yep.
The Houghton Mansion in North Adams. So that's a big mansion there. I believe that's actually open to the public as well. So it's a ghost chauffeur. He killed himself getting into a car accident. And converted into a Masonic temple. It was actually on Ghost Adventures, which reminds me, wasn't Theodore's in Springfield?
Yep. Yeah. One of the guys on the Ghost Hunters is from the area. So they went there. He's there all the time, supposedly.
Hold on, let me see here. Theodore's, here we go. So I know with Theodore's, I know they were featured on there. There's a lot of sounds that they hear. They hear people playing pool, even though no one's actually playing pool. And I'm not sure what this part of the story was on the show that they actually found a skeleton in the building.
Really?
But it wasn't like a body. It was a skeleton that was like a medical skeleton, but like a legit real human.
That's crazy.
It was like in a box or whatnot.
Could you imagine buying a house and you're like, you find an old box in the attic and you're like, hey, what's this cool little box? And there are bones in it. Box.
So there's another place in the area, Van Horn Park, apparently.
I do remember hearing something about this, but I don't know what it was. I do remember though when we lived over there.
Yeah, Van Horn Park. So Van Horn Park, that's in Springfield. And there was a legend had it that in 1920s, 2 boys drowned in the pond there, and that their ghosts still linger in the area. In the summertime, people have heard them laughing and splashing in the water, and they never actually see them out there, but they do hear them. So that's a creepy one.
I know a lot of stuff has happened there in that park. There have been a lot of assaults and stuff. I'm sure there are a lot of pissed off ghosts in that area.
Now,
Rockadundy
what about
Road.
Rockadundy Road?
Rockadundy Road. Oh yeah.
All right. So Rockadundy Road. So this is like legendary in terms of the 60s. Yeah, I remember our parents when I was a kid. We used to go out there.
Yeah.
And they would drive us out there. We would tell ghost stories, and we'd ride down Rockadundy Road. And it's weird because there's a couple spots where it does seem as if the car is driving up a hill on its own.
Yeah.
So I don't know if you've heard areas like that. So it is kind of weird like that. And anytime we've been out there, it's always some sort of strange situation. And I remember when we were teenagers, we were a little bit older, we used to, go drive down to Rockadundy Road and go out to the lake. What was it, in Connecticut? Crystal Lake in Connecticut, which is even creepy because that's from like Jason, the movies, Crystal Lake. So you go down there near Halloween and test your
I'm pretty sure was it you guys or
how brave you
high
were.
School, we went on Rockadundy Road. Somebody turned off the lights and we're all screaming. I don't know who I was with. Somebody in high school. Probably.
There was the story of this truck that would chase people. And I remember actually being chased out of there by this big, huge truck that was literally, feet behind us, just going faster and faster and faster to the point where we were speeding and trying to get away, essentially. And it was really,
I think I heard that
really
story. I wasn't there.
Yeah. It was definitely really weird. So Rockadundy Road.
I had a friend that moved to Rockadundy Road from 16 Acres.
Yeah.
Nice.
And I was like, yeah, I'm not going.
Yeah, we're no longer friends.
I haven't seen her in years. Who knows?
Ever since she moved. All right, so Rockadundy Road. Talked about the Lizzie Borden house. Let's get that out of here. These were other places in the United States, and actually Lizzie Borden house is listed on one of the top 10 most haunted houses in the United States.
Yeah, I mean, all the ghost hunters go there and report all sorts of crazy stuff.
Yeah. So here was another one. It was in Lee. It's actually not that far. The Mount. Lenox. Yeah, Lenox. So this is open to the public. They actually do ghost tours here as well. It was built in 1902. It was used as a school for girls. Now, apparently, there's just been, Ghost Hunters was on here as well. So I guess I'm assuming there's probably a couple places around here that Ghost Hunters have been in there. But you can actually stay there as a hotel. Much more space than the Lizzie Borden house, which is more of a bed and breakfast. I think they actually do like weddings and all sorts of events here. It's actually a pretty nice property. Yeah,
That's pretty grim. Let's get married.
Yeah. Well, look at this. They do an outdoor light and sound. Look at this. This is beautiful. Yeah. I know. I was checking this out, and I was like, April's gonna want to go.
Uh-oh.
And we'll do the this is like a Christmas event and stuff like that that they do. That's really cool. Okay. All right, let's be done with these. Taking these out of here. Did you know at Forest Park, I was looking for events like, hey, we'll talk about events that are going on for Halloween and stuff like that. And I found a few events and they're all like sold out. Everything obviously at this point is sold out. So I'm like, oh yeah.
It's crazy. When I went to Salem, it was pouring. It was freaking nor'easter. There was rain everywhere. It was windy, but the place was packed. There were people everywhere. Like, why are we out here right now? I was cold.
Time of year.
Yeah, but yeah, everyone's getting their fill in.
All right, let's do a quick. We'll talk about the market real quick, and then I actually have a list of whole other things. I have a ghost story, a few other crazy real estate stories. So, anyways, we'll just talk about Springfield at the moment. So right now, current inventory. This is actually as of like not even an hour ago. 110 single families available right now, which is awesome. It is awesome to see that we actually have a decent amount of inventory right now. This is still very low. So if you look at this month supply, we're still under a month supply of inventory. So it's tough to to say that we have twice as many houses as we did on the market earlier this year is awesome. But yeah, it's still a bit horrible because we don't have enough houses to deal with the number of buyers that are out there right now. So we still have less than a month supply of inventory. Listings taken 1285, so it's actually a little bit less than what we've seen in years past. Not too much off from the past 2 years, but I'm sorry, for the past year. But if you go back again a couple of years, definitely less. Houses that went pending, about the same. Let's see here. Properties that actually sold on the higher end, but definitely not too far off from what we've seen in the past. Average sale price is way up. Obviously, we know that's just the result of everything that we've been going through for the past year and a half to past how many months now? 18 months basically. So the average listing price is definitely up. Again, looking at a few years ago in 2017, when the average listing price in Springfield was $149,000. It's just crazy to show or to see what the difference is.
Crazy.
All right, let's see here. We can go ahead and do Hampton County real quick. And on Hampton County, got here. Of course, it's taking a moment to download this. I should have ran this report before, I guess. I got a whole list of Halloween songs I'm working from. This is really not wanting to download.
Well, anyway.
Yeah. Well, anyways.
While this loads. Oh, here we go.
Oh, there it goes. Yeah, of course. All right. So what are we looking at here? We've got our Hampton County area market 5-year review. Again, this is typically what we're looking at. Showing the year to date as of today versus the last few years. So again, listing inventory, 378 houses, again, which is much more than what we had at the beginning of the year. We were in like the low 200s, or actually mid 200s. But we still only have just slightly over a month of inventory, versus what we've had in the past. Again, 2017, we still had a seller's market when we had 3 months of inventory. And we have 1 month of inventory at the moment. So it is a very, very strong seller's market still. All right, we've got units that have sold year to date. Look at that, 3451. So we've actually sold pretty much more properties except for 2019 in the last few years, year to date than in Hampton County than any of the other years. The average sale price is up to $297,000 from $209 again a few years ago, and the number of properties have actually come on the market less than what we've typically seen in years past. All right,
it's so nuts. I had somebody the other day talking about the market, and he's like, "I'm just waiting for it to crash." And I'm like, here we go again. I'm like, oh my God, this isn't 2008, guys. It's like they're still thinking that all of a sudden everything's going to plummet in 6 months and people are going to lose their shirts, and they're not understanding what's actually going on. We've talked about it before.
Yeah, it's that supply and demand. And it is, I mean, any type of, large purchase is always going to be some sort of, scariness in it, right?
Of course, yeah.
So, especially when you see things in the past where prices have gone up, and then they all of a sudden came down. It's easy to understand how someone who's not in the market, the way we are, could have that misconception, right? And it's really tough to explain that this is a different situation than what we dealt with before. right? This is a supply and demand issue.
Yep.
Where it's just not enough houses, and the supply issue has been going on for a really long time. And because it's been going on for a long time, it's likely going to take a long time to resolve it. And even if we do see, a big increase in foreclosures come on the market, which is a possibility, I don't see how that's going to drastically increase the supply to the point where it's going to be a buyer's market. It may, maybe we'll get close to, kind of an even, market, but we'll probably be at like, 3 months of supply, 2-3 months of supply, maybe.
I mean, the entire time I've been in real estate technically hasn't been a buyer's market. I think the most I've ever seen was like 4 months, maybe. I don't think I've ever seen more than 4 months of inventory.
Yeah. Oh, it's crazy. It's crazy. All right.
I did it. It is 7:57. I submitted an offer before the 8 o'clock deadline. While
did you CC yourself?
What's that?
Did you CC yourself and get confirmation?
No, I'll text her and be like, yo, what's up?
Yo, it's in. Oh, it's
in.
I
sent it. I always do that anyways. I sent it. So
I'm back to it on my shadow mask.
So I have a couple. Actually, I already talked about one. I do have a nice mask, dude.
Ooh.
I have a story, my own personal scary house story. I think it was the first years in real estate, and I go into this house. I go in through the side door, and it opens up to the kitchen. This kitchen is in the shape of like a hexagon. So it's this odd shape, right? I go in there, the energy feels messed up. I go in there, I'm by myself. I was looking at houses for a buyer, and received. See, I got confirmation. And then, so I go into this house
with 2 minutes to spare.
With 2 minutes to spare, right? That should give me some points with her. Be like, I showed a house an hour and a half ago, and I got you an offer. So I get in this house, and it's vacant. Energy is completely like, I go in there going, what the frick is going on right now? And I got this weird vibe. I look into one room, like right off the side, there's this room. I peek in there. I'm like, all right, it's still weird. I go to this landing. It's on the left side of the kitchen, and it's a landing to go upstairs. I step on that landing. I look up, and I swear I hear, get out. And I was like, nope. And I walked right out. Like it like I didn't hear it, but I can like sense something said, get out. And I was like, I'm gonna listen. I was like, I'm not going towards that. And what's weird is I don't remember where this house was. I don't remember what town I was in. I don't remember any details about this house at all. But I remember getting the hell out of there. It was giving me goosebumps right now. But that was creepy.
It's crazy. I think I remember you telling us about this before. Yeah.
It was freaking, it's messed up. I mean, I still remember it, but what really gets me is not remembering. I remember almost every house I've been in. I can go driving around places and be like, I've been in that house. I've been in that house. I don't even know what town I was in. I don't even know if it was Springfield. I don't know where it was. Don't remember any details.
Ooh.
That's my ghost story.
So I've got a ghost story. So we as you know, we have a multifamily house in Springfield.
Yeah.
We bought this years ago, and we lived on the 3rd floor. In-law apartment. We fixed it up and lived there for a number of years, and there was a gentleman that lived by himself on the 2nd floor, and he had been there for a few months, we had been there for I think like a year or two at this point.
Nope. It was less than 6 months.
Maybe less than 6 months. Maybe about a year. No, it was longer than that. It was in May. About a year.
We bought the house in November.
So in any event, he passed away in the apartment. So unfortunately, it was a very unsettling situation because I found him, had to have him report him and everything to the police and all that stuff. So they came and took him and all that stuff. So just that experience alone was, like I said, just unsettling. So time went on. We eventually moved into the second floor apartment where he had lived, and he had passed away in the kitchen, and we had actually been there probably for, I don't know, maybe 2 years at this point, but it had been some time we were living there, and we were hanging out in the bedroom, a standard 2-family, right, where you have the kitchen with the little hall with the bathroom and the 2 bedrooms off of the kitchen, right?
Yeah.
So pretty standard. So we're in one of the bedrooms, and the lights are off, and we're in the bedroom, and we're talking about him, about the tenant, about how he had previously, I don't know how we got on the conversation, but we were discussing him, and then about how crazy it would be if something happened, or that just showed or that he was there or something like that, right? And at that moment, the kitchen light went on.
It was just like on.
It wasn't just that the white light went on. I heard the click.
Yep.
It went click, and the light went on.
Oh, woo.
We froze.
I know.
I was like, get the bat.
Froze.
Get the bat.
We have a metal bat.
And took it took maybe 2 minutes for me to get up, because we were just like,
we just kept looking at each other, just looking
and just
at
froze
each other.
We were having the conversation about him.
I'm like hot thinking about it.
And then
oh man,
it went click, and the light went on.
Now,
So I got up and I went into the kitchen, because again, and I slowly walked into the kitchen thinking like, I don't know what I'm going to see here. And I checked the pull switch, and when I pulled it, it went off, and I realized that the pull switch was actually broken, and it did the same thing. It re-clicked and the light went on. So it happened, but then there was an explanation all at the same time.
Or he's just telling me that's the explanation to make me feel better.
No. I swear to God, I went in and I was able to recreate the scenario where I turned the light off, and then just by its own weight, it just kind of popped up, because the pull chain, there's like a spring on the inside, and it was just happened to be broken. Never before that had we ever had an issue with that light switch. I went ahead and I changed the switch right away.
Yeah, you did.
Make sure it wouldn't keep doing that again.
Oh man.
So what do you think about that one?
That is, I can see why you moved.
Yeah, we still own it.
We still own it. It's still
yeah, you still own it. You're okay with other people living in it, but that was when you were like, honey, it's time to go. That was it.
No. Yes, very interesting. Very
That's
interesting.
crazy.
And actually, was it Bella that said she saw somebody? Yeah, when Bella was little, she said that she saw a man standing in her bedroom. And that was
hell
the
no.
that he used to sleep.
Oh, hell no.
Yeah.
Let my kids say something like that. We're gone. We're leaving.
Yeah.
We're not
Yeah,
coming
yeah.
back. Because
He was a nice guy, though.
He was
a
very
guy.
nice guy.
So nice.
Very nice. guy.
yeah, nice guy standing over kids in a kid's room. Like, no.
All right. So here's a different kind of scary story for a real estate agent. Fleas.
Ugh.
Oh,
Fleas.
Gross.
Oh.
Did I tell you this story before?
Oh my god.
No.
This is so
About
bad.
how I had to get my car.
no. No.
Yeah,
Like,
treated. Yeah.
Flea bomb his car.
Yeah. So,
I am so nervous, like bed bugs and stuff. I've been in some sketchy ass houses.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So this was after the market the market had crashed, there was a lot of foreclosures. I mean, at this time, it was thinking back, it was pretty interesting and actually kind of scary in some such situations where you would show vacant properties or abandoned properties. Sometimes you would find that there was, squatters or people living in the homes that weren't supposed to be there. Maybe they'd broken in. So it wasn't necessarily the safest situation sometimes showing these homes. But one time I showed a property and there was a bunch of cats living in the property. They had like broken in through one of the windows, it looked like in the basement, and showed the house and got to the basement, and there was like 4 or 5 cats down there. We were down there for a couple of minutes and then, headed upstairs. Now, I was wearing long pants, so I didn't realize at the time when I was in the house, but when I got outside, I noticed that there was these, little black spots all over my light khaki pants or my khaki pants. So immediately I realized, oh my goodness, that there was fleas. There must have been fleas in the house because of the cats. So I brushed everything off as much as I could, cleaned everything off as much as I could. I shook off my coat and everything, and then figured I was good to go. Got in my car, started driving away, and just a few minutes later, I realized my ankles were being bitten on because there was fleas. Yeah. So I stopped the car, got out. I basically ended up, shaking everything out and like kind of bagging my clothes, pulling over and kind of bagging my stuff away, getting home. April made me leave everything outside.
I was like, do not come in this house.
Maybe leave everything outside. And,
do not
cleaned
come
off,
in this house.
wet in the house, was scared that night. Like, oh my goodness, the house is going to be infested. Nope. Everything was fine then, at the house. So the next morning I get up, figure my clothes are fine, because we washed them out and everything. I jump in the car to go show a house. And I was wearing shorts. And as I'm pulling down the driveway, I realize I'm being attacked by fleas. And I'm not even like 2 or 3. It looks like there's like a lot.
They multiply quick.
A lot. And so I was essentially being attacked. Now, in the moment, I was so just startled by the situation that I jumped up. I stopped my car. I hit the brake and I opened the door and I jumped out, but I didn't put the car in park. And I actually knocked myself over with the door, and I almost good thing I caught myself, because I almost could have gotten knocked over and either run over by my own car, or my car would have rolled into the street and maybe hit another car.
Oh my God.
So, I knocked myself or I tripped. I didn't fall all the way over. I stumbled, jumped in the car, was able to stop the car. And then I ended up going to get flea bombs. And then I just bombed the car. Bombed it. And then there's this powder and everything. Vacuumed it all out after that. I think we did it twice.
Yep. Just to be safe.
And, oh my God. It was actually really a really scary situation when you think about it.
Gross. It's gross.
Yeah,
one, gross, but 2, scary, because I could have been hurt. Yeah.
Yeah, really. That's insane.
Yeah.
I mean, we go into so many houses, man, and I mean, I've always just feared something like that. I mean, that I guess fleas are minor in the grand scheme of things, but I mean, it's like one of the houses that I closed on recently. When we went into the house the first time, somebody was living in there, and then the second time we had gone in there, the owner had gone. They had a new job somewhere, so they left the house. When we walked into the house, there were those bombs, those flea bombs, the cans, everywhere in the house. Before I go in there, the agent tells me that the bombs were a precautionary because the guy had pets. So it's like, all right, he's leaving for a long time. He just wants to make sure. No, that place had fleas. And when we had the inspection a week later is when the inspector was like, yeah, there are fleas everywhere. thankfully the buyer they were like, we'll just get rid of them because they had pets, so they knew how to take care of it. But immediately I'm like, oh my God, there's gonna be a time when I'm coming across bed bugs and you won't know until it's too late. You don't see those things until it's too damn late. And it gets me. I need to level up on the houses that I look at. Because damn, like today I was in a couple of houses that, I mean, this is on another side, it was covered in mold. And I'm like, I feel like I should be signing a disclosure to be in this house, because it wasn't just the mold that you see in bathrooms, you see it collecting. This shit was, oh, excuse me, I'm swearing over here. This stuff looked like spider webs of mold. Bleep. It looked like spider webs of mold everywhere. It was disgusting. I was like, it's going to trigger my asthma. I got to get the hell out of here.
So I've been in properties like that. Bank owned. There are a lot of lenders that what they'll do is if there's any sign of moisture, water damage, they'll have you sign a disclosure or a waiver before they'll even let you in the house. And some will even do it even if there is no issues, just saying, hey, if you find out there's a problem or whatever, we're not liable.
We don't know
anything about the house. I guess I could see that, because if a seller knows there's a serious issue like that, or someone knows there's a serious issue,
it's obvious. They know. I mean, you can't miss that. So there has to be some point. And to me, honestly, even the
or at
agent,
least a disclosure.
We walk through the house. We make sure, when we meet with somebody, we go through everything. And if you see something like that, as an agent, I'd be like, I think we need people to sign a disclosure for this, because this can come bite you in the butt.
I wonder if that, what I'm thinking is, I wonder if that, along that same thinking of the lenders, maybe should be a disclosure that sellers should give out to any potential buyer, just saying, hey, there could be something going on in this house, be prepared. Does that?
Yeah, I mean, that opens up some questions though. So as you do a lot of listings. Is that something that you'd want to just have signed? Just be like, hey, have people sign. You never know, especially if you're in a house that's kind of sketchy. Be like, hey, we're going to have people sign this disclosure. You're going to protect yourself. You're not going to, what if somebody did get sick? I could walk into a house as an agent and my asthma can get triggered and I could get really sick. So,
well, that actually is a larger conversation, because I think we may have even had this conversation before about agents in general wearing protective masks, mold masks, different types of gear to go take a look at houses, because I have been into probably thousands of basements at this point, and as you know, a good number of them have moisture issues. There's mold, there's asbestos, there's all sorts of lead paint, chemicals, just stuff that could be potentially dangerous. And as an agent, because you're doing that over and over and over and over again, does that increase your chances of getting sick from stuff like that?
Realistically, we won't know until we're older.
When we're
older, I'll be like, I got this cough, man. I've been in a lot of houses with asbestos. Are we covered for mesothelioma?
Well, I guess it's one of those things where, like the masks and stuff like that, even though it's not required in all places now, I just wear a mask now, when I'm showing houses. And, even when this is all kind of settled down, that just could be kind of become the norm for agents, because again, you don't know what you're breathing when you're going into somebody's house.
After this conversation, I might go in with a full bodysuit and go, hey guys, oxygen mask. And then when I get out, I take it all off, put it in its own little container, sanitize it. You never know.
All right.
Man. Some weird stuff happening.
Weird stuff happening. All right. So what's some other stuff that's happened? Crazy stuff that's happened on showings?
I can tell you about my first showing. Did I ever talk about my first? I think I was showing a house for you, actually.
Yep.
It's a multifamily, and I was told it was vacant. And this is more a funny story than scary, but I was told it was vacant. So I opened the lockbox, opened the door. This little boy comes running at me, and I go, "Oh!" I was like, "This is supposed to be vacant." Like, and then all of a sudden, this guy comes running out of the bedroom, and I'm like, "Oh my God, there's more people!" Like, I'm stunned because I'm brand new to the business. I'm like weeks in at this point, and I'm like, "Oh my God, I don't know what to do." I'm thinking like I'm about to die. This guy's gonna pull a gun on me. I just walked into his house. This is a horrible situation. And then the guy, I was told I was gonna show the house. So the guy calmed down. He was like, "Oh yeah." He's like, "We just moved in last night." The owner of the house was giving them a place to stay for a couple weeks. The night before they had moved in, right? So I was like, "Well, I'm supposed to show the property," and I had 2 buyers and their kid with us. And I'm like, all right. He's like, yeah, no problem. Go look at the other rooms, whatever. I open up the second bedroom, open the door up. There is a woman laying buck ass naked on the bed. This is my first showing ever. And I open the door and there's a little kid behind me. I'm like, I go close it. I go, it's a bedroom. It's a bedroom. We don't need to go in there. And yeah, that was. They didn't want the house, but we walked out.
Oh
it was really like the house was in bad condition. But to be like, I'm gonna die, buck ass naked woman, time to go. And then I was like, welcome to real estate. I'm hooked for life.
Yeah, anytime it's just like a kid answers the door, especially or any property where especially if they're like a younger kid. If it's like if a teenager, that's a little different. But like I've had showings where you knock on the door or whatnot, and then like, a 4-year-old answers the door, and then I'm just like, is your mom or dad here? You're just like,
I haven't really come across that.
I'm like, no.
I haven't had any like young people.
I mean, there's usually an adult somewhere, but the kid's like, yeah, come in. I'm like, no. We need to see an adult before we go in. But I actually saw along that same lines you said that kid. I had a walkthrough once where the tenant was no one was supposed to be home when we were doing a walkthrough in the apartment. We were in there for maybe 2 or 3 minutes. And we were sitting in the living room, and all of a sudden, like a 2-year-old comes walking out, and I'm like, and I had said hello. No one was in the apartment. No one had said anything. And out of one of the bedrooms, it's like a 2-year-old comes walking out, and I'm like, there is nobody in here. And so
there's no adult.
If we were like thinking there's no adult, so turns out there was an adult sleeping in the bedroom. We just hadn't seen the adult, but it was like so jarring because it was like thinking we had walked through, didn't see an adult laying in the bed. The kid must have been in the bed too, apparently. And then all of a sudden, like I said, a couple minutes later, just a little child comes up, and we were thinking this kid was alone in the house all by himself. And then I'm just like, now I'm even more scared because because the adult was still sleeping, and I'm like, what if they wake up? And then they see us and the kid is with us.
Yeah.
And that was like super scary because then it was just like,
oh my God.
We immediately just walked out of the apartment and got out because we were just like, do not want to be in a situation where the adult's waking up and then, we're with the kid and it's like, nope.
What are you doing with my kid?
Exactly. Yeah, exactly.
Oh
Which
God.
It would be even scarier. Luckily I was with the buyer. Even scarier if I had gone on my own to do a walkthrough.
Yeah.
And again, that same situation happened. Oh my God, that's even scary because again, what if the adult had woken up and all of a sudden they're thinking you've broken in? They don't know you're supposed to be there. the kid's in the room with you, and it's like, oh my goodness, yeah.
I was asking. Was that a final walkthrough?
That was a final walkthrough.
What were they doing there in the first place?
Oh, it was a multifamily. It was the other unit.
Oh, got it.
Yeah. The tenant wasn't supposed. The agent said, yeah, the tenant's at work. No one's gonna be there. Gave us the lockbox that they confirmed with the tenants and everything. And no, there was
I learned not to believe
living there.
Listing agents.
They were still there. Yeah.
Man.
Yeah. Communication.
That's a whole other conversation.
What communication?
Listing agents. Things that I like. They'll say something, and the thing is, I know when they respond too quickly. I'm like, did you talk to your client about this? And it's like, no, they came up with their own answer, and then end up screwing themselves in the end because they responded a little too quickly for me to feel comfortable with what they're saying. I don't know.
I gotcha. That wasn't fast enough to reach out to your seller.
Yeah, right. I know there are tenants there. You know, how many times have we shown up to houses and the tenants were like, oh, that's a funny story. So this was a couple years ago. I was showing a multifamily, a knock on the door, and the agent met us there, who was also the owner of the property. He meets us there, knocks on the first floor, and they open the door, and he's like, we're here to see the property. And in Spanish, the woman's like, you never told me this. And I'm obviously, I know what the hell she's saying. And he goes, well, I'm here to show the property. And I look at him and I go, she has every right to say no. Even if she confirmed, she opens that door, she says, no, is it what it is? And then she goes off. She goes on top of that in Spanish. She's like, there's rats, there's cockroaches. Like she lists some things off. And he goes, oh, okay. Thank you. And then he walks away, and he looks at me and goes, oh, she can't show the property today. I was like, how about those cockroaches and rats? Like I called him out. Like he was trying to play it off. Like she didn't say anything like that. She came up with this whole thing, and he looks at me and I'm like, yeah, I know Spanish. And and ever since then, like he's an agent, and I'm like, I don't trust that guy. He was trying to pull one over on us. And
trying to pull one over.
Yeah, and I peeked into the apartment while he was talking to her. I was like, there are definitely cockroaches and rats. She was not she was not lying. Oof. That's a whole other topic.
You got any scary stories for us? No scary real estate stories. No. Well, I mean, we're gonna keep this to about an hour, so we only got a few minutes left. I don't have any other scary stories, but so I guess some nightmares for sellers. So like walking into a house during that same time period with after all those foreclosures, with the copper getting stolen. How many times did you do that? Or actually, you weren't around when that was happening all the time.
That was a long time.
Yeah, that was happening a lot. Have you ever walked into a house with the burst pipe in the winter?
Oh yeah. Yep.
Yeah. I one time walked into a house with that had like 3 feet of water in the basement.
Oh yeah.
Because the pipe broke, and it just kept pouring and pouring and pouring into that basement. I've seen icicles, basically giant ice sculptures. They're like the spray going in because it's so cold, and it forms like a giant like ice monster almost, essentially going into the basement.
I had gone into a house once. Right when you walk in, the side door to the left goes down to the basement. It was a multifamily, and I take a step down. It looked odd to me. Something was not right with what I was looking at, and I couldn't tell what it was. I take another step down. Water had gotten, it was so crystal clear. It just looked, it didn't even look like water. It was so perfectly clear, but it looked odd to me. So I was like, I think that's water. And then I was paying attention, and I could hear it was in the first floor unit. I think it was the second floor was leaking through the first floor down to the basement, and it was empty. It was vacant. So that had been pouring like that for a long time. And thankfully I didn't take another step, because if I hit that water and there was open electrical anywhere, I'm electrocuted. I ended up I called the agent. Of course, they're really nowhere to be found. And I found out eventually, I think I called your mom, and I was like, I don't know what to do. Or maybe I called you, and I called the fire department, and eventually we found out that the owner lived in Puerto Rico. They didn't even live in here. So there was like, they had to shut it down, and it was a mess. But that was, I mean, how perfectly clear it was. And I had I just thankfully looked down.
An illusion.
Yeah. I had another one, was a similar situation, but I went left to go down into the basement. There were no stairs.
No.
I automatically, like, I went to go and I was like, oh, and I went to take a step. There was nothing there. Had I not been paying attention, I would have fallen down like 7 feet.
Yeah. Yeah. I actually was showing a property that I could have gotten hurt and killed a couple times in showing houses. One time I was showing a house where I'm trying to remember if the light was on or not. I don't think there was any light, so it was only like on part of the basement. So it was a little bit dark going down there. So we're walking around, and we get to the heating system. I'm standing there, looking at the heating system, and then I look down, and I see behind me, and I realize that the back of my foot is over the edge of a well. And it's just like
an
open, maybe 20, 30 foot drop.
Wow.
And with the hole that's like a manhole cover size. And there's water at the bottom. And so I couldn't see, like, is that just like deep water, or is it like 2 inches of water? And what it appeared is that there was a cover on it. Somebody during a showing must have seen that there's this manhole cover, opened it to see what was there, and then left the cover open. I could have fallen in, and my foot was literally over the edge, and I was like, oh my goodness. And if I had fallen, and I still think about it every once in a while, if I had fallen, I would have fallen with one leg first, and I would have essentially done the splits where one leg would have gone down and my other leg would have been up, and I would have fallen and like done the splits down this freaking hole.
Oh man.
I moved the cover back on, and I contacted the agent right away to let him know, like, hey, you've got like a serious major problem. And along those lines of basement stairs, I remember there was an agent, this was like right when I first started, where she went onto a basement stairs, and the stairs collapsed, and she broke both of her legs.
Oh yeah, I remember you saying that.
Yeah, broke both of her legs. I mean, again, you're walking into situations where you don't know, right? You don't know. You always have to be cautious. Even on a new construction house, you could have situations where there aren't steps in, right? You could have all sorts of weird situations, especially with home remodels. I've seen situations where stairs go to nowhere, or a door that goes nowhere. I've seen doors on second floors of houses that walk out to nothing. And again, like I said, if you weren't paying attention, I grabbed that door. Oh, we could just walk out to the back porch, and you take a step out there, and boom, you're dropping like 30 feet. So it's you always got to be cautious when you're showing houses, because you never know what it is that you're gonna encounter. And I typically, 99% of the time, unless the buyer's a little bit more aggressive in terms of and it's just like a ranch, there's no steps, right? I could see everything. But 99% of the time, I'm going first.
Yep.
Right. When it comes to showings, I'm going first into the house. I'm going first into the basement. I'm going first down the hall and peeking into the bedrooms to see if anybody's there, or what's going on, or if there is anybody home. I'm clearing the space, and then kind of, checking it for anything.
So we can add that to a resume. We're risk takers. We put our lives.
No, seriously. When you
do, it's true. Yeah, I do the same thing. I go first down the stairs.
Unknown spaces. Yeah.
And it's always looking down, and when you open the basement door, you take a peek first, make sure.
Oh yeah, I
things
do
look
that all the
okay.
time now.
Yeah, I'll take the
I'm
first
afraid
step.
I'm gonna
I'll be like,
I'm gonna
I'll check out the first step. Be like,
step
I think we're
wrong.
good.
Yeah.
No
Right
matter
about
where I'm at, it's like a habit to do that now.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah. All right. So let's wrap it up. We did an hour. I think that was good. It was nice
My
to
teeth are
talk
about to
about
fall out.
ghost stories. Are you going to a Halloween party tonight?
No, I'm just stressing myself.
This is just for home. We're
This is
doing a
just for
Halloween
you.
party tomorrow. We're going to a party. I've got glow sticks.
They told us to invite whoever came to us before.
Arlene, actually, you could probably go. So I got these glow sticks, right?
Oh, gee,
so
thanks.
put them in the eye.
Nice. Oh, that's sick.
So, hold on here. I just gotta tape them in, and then so it'll just be floating.
Can you
glow in
see?
the eye.
Can you see, or does it blind you?
Yeah, I can see right now. I mean, I can see glow sticks, but I can also see you.
Nice.
All right. Well, if you're not doing anything tomorrow, let us know, and
All right, I will.
We'll get you the details. We don't want to put that out to the public.
Then everyone shows up. There's a massive party.
All right, sounds good.
All right.
I will. We'll talk to you guys later.
All right.
Happy Halloween.
Happy Halloween.
Happy Halloween.